I rolled up. I just gardened. Now it's time to watch some reality TV. Okay, so the episode 4 starts off with the ladies getting ready for their trips, I guess. So the only real trip is the ski trip to Threadbow. The other ladies, like I said, just visiting Janet at the Hotel Windsor. I don't know how far that is from Melbourne, if it's still in Melbourne, but I guess that's their little trip. Um, but throughout the episode, they go back and forth between the two groups. So we first start off, we see Jackie getting ready for the ski trip with the help of Ben. She said she's never skied before, but she decided to get to know Andrea and Lydia. Andrea is getting ready with the help of one of her kids. I think it's her daughter. I don't know. I think she has 2 sons and 1 daughter. So she's her daughter's helping her, and Mossy, her husband Chris. Chris thinks it'll be a bachelor party, but he still has 3 kids. So I guess he just means he won't have his wife nagging him all the time.
If you enjoy it, we'll organise a family ski trip soon. I think
Actually, that'd be really good fun.
That'd be fun.
That'd be great, but you can't come.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to ski. You're a plastic surgeon. If you break your hands, what are we going to eat?
Yeah.
Andrea will still leave a checklist to keep everything in check, obviously, because she's very rigid and she wants to make sure her kids' schedule is still consistent. So since the ladies are going to Lydia's house in Threadbow, I'm assuming Lydia is already there to make sure everything is set up. While she's over there, Andrea and Jackie drive to Threadbow. So obviously Lydia has her own plane. So I think they joke that she flew there while Jackie and Andrea drive there. And it seems like a long drive because they were like hours and hours. I don't know Australia geography, so I don't know how long it is, but I'm sure it's a very long drive to go from like normal sunny to like snow and cold. And then once the ladies get to Lydia's, she gives her a little tour of the place and describes all the different pieces that she put up and designed for her own home, obviously because she's in school to be an interior designer. Back at the Hotel Windsor, we see Chica and Gina arrive to Janet's penthouse where they'll help her get ready for her first date since her divorce. They sit, chat, have some tea. Chica shares her and Bruce have been together for 25 years. Obviously, we know, which is great. They seem like they have a great marriage, and he adores her, so that's amazing. Janet was with her ex for 17 years, which is a very long time. Then Janet asks when her last, I guess, new date with a new guy was, and Gina reveals it's been 8 years. I don't think Gina has told the collective about how long she's been with that man. So she's been with him for 8 years, and then he wants to move to these states for a job. Interesting. Gina reveals her ex wants her back, even though she had moved on, and it seemed like he would be jealous that she's dating other men, even though he cheated on her. But her answer is an immediate no, and she no longer trusts him. So it's time to get back in the saddle. We are now in Threadbow, and so we see Lydia show the ladies to her room because Andrew bought her new ski outfits. So they all try on new ski outfits to pick which one that they will choose.
As if I wouldn't. I was drawn to the orange. I should honestly become a model for ski wear. I mean, what are these people thinking? Look at this. Oh, this colour, I think I'm going to be owning this. Orange represents power and peace, and that's what I am. Yeah, look.
And then after that, Lydia takes the ladies out to a nice dinner and debrief about the housewarming party. After, Lydia tells her side of things, and Jackie expresses that she believes Lydia and that she feels like Gina might be fibbing a little bit because she's saying that they're not interpreting her words correctly. So then Andrea adds in that she felt that Gina picked the wrong time, wrong place to discuss this, even though it wasn't even Gina. It was Ben who brought it up because he just wanted to hash things out. But it's funny that Andrea, obviously she doesn't have the whole story, but it's funny that she just immediately blames Gina for the whole fiasco, because why not? Andrea ribs into Gina a little bit, so Lydia warns her to be careful with what she says, but then Andrea takes a jab at Gina and the fact that I don't think she has a spray tan, but I guess she used a lot of bronzer. I mean, at least she has better style. I mean, her style's more reserved because she's in the medical field, but she's still a lawyer and she's still able to express herself. So it's like, just because she can express herself in a serious profession and you don't want to, doesn't mean you have to like tease her about it. Well, not tease her, but like she really digs into her. Like, it was a bit much. And all the ladies were just like, ooh.
You're on the slopes. There'd be a trail of sequins following her. She'd have the jewels and the sequins falling off the ski outfit. Imagine her hair, it'd be even higher and more of a bouffant.
But Lydia does end up defending Gina and says she still looks beautiful and her style is her own. As far as I've seen, Gina doesn't look horrible. She's got some style. It's just the fact that she got big hair and lots of makeup. She's just a drag queen. Then they go back to the Windsor and we see the ladies go through clothes to pick out the right outfit. Gina tells in her confessional, Gina says that she has a background in fashion, so hopefully they'll find the right dress. They do end up picking a little black dress to show off Janet's figure. So, ain't nothing wrong with something simple, like a little black dress or a little red dress. I feel like red would have been too much. The black one that they chose was perfect because it was kind of like, it had like a little peekaboo moments. And then it did kind of show off a figure because it was, I wouldn't say bodycon, but it was like form-fitting. So it was nice. They give her some last-minute advice before she goes on her date. And then they have like a fail-safe plan. So like if she feels like the date is not going well, Janet's going to send Gina and Chica an emergency text to like get her out of there ASAP. Yeah, and then she's off for the night. Then they do cut back to the restaurant and Andrea's still joking about Gina and her clothes and her looks. They then chat about their opinions on Janet's date and how they might be going. So now we are on Janet's date, and the guy, his name is Marty, seems 30s with hopefully a good paying job. I mean, that's how he dressed, so good impression. Apparently she's known him for a few months, I guess, in circles and parties and things. But this is their first time going out romantically. I think through conversation we find out that Marty's been divorced for 2 years because they have a joke about like, once you've been divorced for 2 years, then it's time to go. So it seems like it's time to go for Marty. I mean, not so much for Janet, because once she said goodbye, it was clearly he was checked out of a relationship. He was cheating. Then Gina and Chica decide to crash the restaurant. They're sitting at the bar, I guess just looking over at them to, check out the guy to make sure he's not a creep. They're giggling like little schoolgirls and deciding if they want to go over and say hi. So as Janet is on her date, the show cuts back and forth a little quicker between the dinner at the ski trip and the date. Gina realizes that she didn't get a text from Janet, which is good, so she knows that everything is going well. So then I guess they do end up going over just to say, hey, we came in to check on you, make sure everything is great, it seems like you're having fun, we'll talk about it later, love you, girl. Because the date is going so well, Janet decides to invite him back to her hotel room. She like brags about like, oh, my penthouse is beautiful, you should see. And he's like, is that you inviting me? She's like, oh, duh, come on. Back in Threadbow, the ladies are now ready to get on the slopes. And so because Jackie's never skied before, and I think it's been some time since Andrea has skied, they are with the instructor to get some pointers and, at least to teach Jackie how to ski and for Andrea to get some pointers. Well, Lydia, she's a pro because obviously she has a whole entire home in Threadbow. She goes there all the time with her and the kids, with her, Andrew, and the kids. So she's going on, I guess, the big Black Diamond Hill. She's ready to just like crush those slopes. So now that it's the next day, we go back to the Windsor and Janet has invited Chica and Gina for a spa day post first date so she can give her the 411 on what happened. Janet had a great night. It seems like everything went well. They didn't leave the restaurant until midnight. And then they had, a good nightcap back at Janet's penthouse. But Janet had to kick him out before the housekeeping came. So obviously it was a good, fun night, but not forever. Chica and Gina give their first impression of how they felt about Janet's date. And then obviously Janet lets them know that this is for a fun time, not a long time. So after we get a couple scenes of Andrea and Jackie kind of like being goofy and trying the little bunny hill, Lydia being a pro on like the bigger hills, ladies take a shot of some schnapps and they chat about how much fun they had skiing and the fact that Jackie fell on her ass a couple times.
Cheers, ladies. Thank you. Oh, so good.
No, I'm going to drink mine like red wine.
It's really nice.
I know, it is nice.
You don't drink a shot like red wine.
I'm a dag.
I had to learn the hard way about shots. So definitely when I was on that cruise taking multiple shots, I felt like a pro. So the ladies in Threadbow decide to call Janet to ask how her date went since they had so much speculation. Janet let them know that she had a good time. It was fun. He was cute. I'll invite him back to my hotel. Yada yada yada. She invites the ladies to a birthday night with a drag show and dinner at the Love Machine. So that'll be fun. And she's inviting everybody. So that includes Gina, Andrea, Lydia, and Jackie, which will be interesting, especially since Andrea is running her mouth about Jackie. No, not Jackie. Andrea's been running her mouth about Gina. So after they get off the phone, the ladies in Thurbo decide to go out for a little bit of shopping.
Love to see Andrea's wild side.
Look like
you do. Oh, look at you.
look beautiful. Yeah, you look good.
What's that? Crazy funky Chucky hat. What's up? Hands like me. Child look like you're Nelly. We were there. We don't know. We see right through your funky hat. So they're, trying out clothes, getting Andrea out of her comfort zone. Then we go back to the Windsor because the ladies are having their spa day. And this is when they actually debrief about the drama at the housewarming party. Janet tries to reason with Gina about Jackie with her comments. She was like, I understand you probably didn't feel that way, but like, understand that what you said could affect her livelihood and her profession and stuff like that. So like, be careful with what you say. And then Gina explains to the ladies how, that she believes the source that Jackie has gotten from is mischief rather than angelic. So she said she's always channeling the angels. That's when Gina goes into her explanation when she said that she had gotten cancer and she felt like when she got the news, she told all the bad energy to get behind her. And so in the moment of Jackie giving her reading, she was like, oh, I see your grandmother behind you. She felt like because she threw all her negative energy behind her during her spiritual journey, she felt like that was what Jackie was channeling, that said negative energy. So she doesn't believe anything because she felt like if her grandmother was talking with her, she'll be right in front of her face. Back in Thurbo, the ladies have their last night in instead of going out because it's their final night on the trip. Boo-hoo. Andrea shares how she teaches her children the responsibility of money and how she duels out allowances, basically like you do your chores, this is money you'll get for the week, da 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 da. And she also says that you have to shape your man for how perfectly for you. So like being married for so long, they feel like you are shaping your man to how you want him to be since you've been together for so long. And then Lydia shares her ups and downs with her marriage, how at one time I guess she felt like she was ready to leave Andrew, but they were able to come back, reconcile, because obviously they take beautiful plane trips together to the market to get some cheese. In her confessional, Jackie says she might not agree with a lot of the ideas that ladies have towards a relationship because she feels like instead of shaping a man for how you want him to be, you should just be accepting who he is. Like she was like, oh, me and Ben just accept each other for how we are, which is understandable. But after you've been together for so long, I don't want to say you shape him, but like both of you kind of like cater to each other specifically because that's the only person that you've known in that relationship for so long. So I wouldn't say you shape him to how you want him to be. I feel like y'all shape each other. So Jackie expresses that she might not agree with how the ladies deal with their relationships, but she appreciates them for opening up because she views them as like planet Turak ladies. And so because she's getting to know them more on a deeper level, she was like, oh, they're really down to earth, but they just put up a facade because they're from Turak. I would say this was definitely a filler episode, even though it felt like we did see the ladies kind of like build relationships or kind of like build a bit of an alliance a little bit, especially with the conflict between Jackie and Gina. We do see a little bit of alliances going into this next episode. That's going to be a huge group activity. So it was a good filler because it kind of moved along the relationships, but storyline wise, it didn't really do nothing, but it was fun to watch. Episode 5. So we started this episode with Chica and her husband finally going on a date night because Lord knows both of their schedules are busy. So they finally get the chance to have a night to themselves. Chica talks about her weekend with the ladies and gives a 411 on the drama in the group. She also lets Bruce know about her helping or giving advice to Jackie and Ben with their new cocktail brand. Bruce thinks it's a tricky market to get into with distribution and like the overall process of like getting a liquor brand off of the ground. After they eat, Bruce surprises Chica with renting out a local amusement park slash fair called Luna Park. It was very quaint, very cute, very beautiful. And he rented out the whole park with just the two of them, which was really nice. I mean, I don't know how much money it is to rent out an entire amusement park. It didn't look too big, but listen, if you got it, flaunt it, right?
Let's go the chariot.
Chica,
Oh my
the
God, this is so cool.
Queen of Luna Park. Let's get this thing going.
Oh, how beautiful.
How good is that, huh?
Oh my God, it actually goes quite fast. But I can't believe you've done this. Very clever.
We do what we can.
Next, we see Janet go pick up her new ring that she had melted down from her previous rings. So I think this is the day of her birthday. So for her birthday present to herself, she goes picks up her new rings, and they look gorgeous. The diamonds are huge. It's a bling bling ring. So you go, Janet. After that, we see Jackie go to an art studio because Ben, I guess, gave her a call or a text and was like, hey, come down. I have something to show you. He shows her a painting of a woman in like this big hat. I don't know if it's like a fruitful hat or what, but it's like this big flourished hat. I think it has flowers in it. I could be wrong. Whatever. He shows her a painting done by one of their artist friends that they want to incorporate for their cocktail brand La Mascata. Then it turns into a bit of an art project when Ben tells Jackie that he has a smock overall for her, which is very cute. It's all white. I wouldn't pick an all white smock, but that's not me. So they use some paints to color the woman to get inspiration for their brand. I guess to see what the overall design is going to look either on the box or the bottle.
Yeah, now it's like you're doing some kind of tribal dance. Hey,
I'm loving this right now.
This is just all like white privilege, weird hippie shit. It's Janet's birthday, and they all meet up at a restaurant before they go out to the club. I guess to eat, celebrate, and pregame. The first to arrive is Andrea and Jackie, so they have a bit moment to themselves to just chat. Andrea asks if Jackie knows if Gina is coming to the birthday festivities, and Jackie asks, well, how should she know? And now people keep asking her about Gina and her based on their issues. Andrea then expresses concern Gina will make another scene and that her behavior will be inappropriate. She brings that up a lot about Gina's behavior. Then Janet and Chica arrive, and Janet shows off her new ring to the ladies. Everybody's gobsmacked because it's a huge diamond and it's shiny. Shine, shine, shine. Gina is the last to arrive since Lydia has previous engagements in Threadbow, so she's still in the snow while the ladies are back in Melbourne ready to party. A cake is brought out for Janet to blow her candles. Everyone has a slice. Andrea and Jackie decide they want to go to the bar to get another round. And once again, Andrea expresses her dislike for Gina and her behavior again. It feels like Gina's gonna mess something up. Was it Jackie and Andrea go back to the table and then ask the whole table? Well, Andrea asked the whole table, well, if they are okay if a friend gives confrontational advice, like how would you feel if someone gave you confrontational advice? So everyone shares their opinion. Was it Chica says as long as it's constructive and then not a takedown, but not like a gang up, right? Janet says that she thinks that if you're a very close friend, you should come to me with advice, but on a one-on-one situation, not in the entire group, right? Like put me aside and have a discussion versus, again, gang up on me in a whole group setting. Then Gina chimes in and says she would gently tell a friend on the side, agreeing with Janet. And then Andrea just goes, well, I'm talking about you, Gina, since you are the topic of conversation. And then Gina's like, well, I guess I'm always the target. I mean, it feels like Gina's the target just because even though you would think Jackie would be the target because she's not in Melbourne society, they feel like Gina's more the target because I feel like how she visibly dresses. So Andrea spills that she feels Gina, being a professional debater and a solicitor, has brought her work skills to her personal life and that it's affecting her relationships. And once again, brings up how inappropriate her confronting Jackie was at the party, even though it was Ben that brought up the question. But then Janet makes a note that Andrea is kind of doing the same thing. Like, you're bringing up an issue at somebody else's party and creating, like, not chaos, but a little bit of a disagreement with the ladies, which is exactly what you didn't want to do because you wanted to have a good night, everything running smoothly, but you're bringing up confrontation again. And so it's creating confrontation. So once the conversation starts to sound like a rehashing of things from the housewarming party again, Janet then leaves because it's just, she's like, oh, I've heard this before. We're still talking about this. I'm just going to leave because I don't want to talk about this. And then Janet feels the same, not Janet, Gina feels the same way because it's about her. So she joins Janet to go to the bathroom. Then we get a little bit of a hot mic moment.
He wasn't even there when I had the conversation. You know that. I'm going to say, Lydia, you're a because why are you telling everyone everything I'm saying? What the is your story, mate?
Where Gina's not mad at Andrea just because Andrea just has an opinion. She's more mad at Lydia because if Lydia didn't say anything to Jackie, this whole situation wouldn't have happened. I mean, I get it because she thought at least Lydia would have some loyalty to her to not like spill the beans. So she shouldn't have said anything to begin with. Gina is expressing her issue about Lydia in the bathroom. Note that for later. So when Gina and Janet are in the bathroom having a chat, she calls Lydia a see you next Tuesday for, bringing up the issue and creating all this chaos with everybody. And we get a little snippet of, I guess, the ladies back at the table and Andrea still going on about how she feels about the whole situation. And she thinks that the ladies in the bathroom are talking about her. And she does not let up on this because she just believes everybody's talking about her. Okay. In the beginning of the show, they made it seem like Lydia is the anchor of this group. But even though it's only the 5th episode, as the show's going on, it starts to feel like Andrea is trying to be the anchor of this group, but not really succeeding because she's just making everything about her. And once again, Andrea is dying on the hill that Gina was the one to bring up the issue at Jackie's housewarming party, when in reality, it is Ben who brought up the issue because he thought, oh, we're here. Why not just talk about it? Which was dumb because look at where we are now. So this is why the husbands don't need to be involved. Just be happy, hold their hand, and make your money. So Janet and Gina don't come together out back to the table. I think Janet comes out first. And then she's like, we're still talking about this. And then once Andrea continues to give her 2 cents, Gina walks out and then it gets real awkward, like a real silence. And then I think Andrea was like, oh, I want to keep talking about this. And Andrea says that she wants to keep talking about this. But Gina's like, well, if you want to keep talking about this, we can do it one-on-one to the side. She's like, well, I don't want to do it one-on-one to the side. Which is like, why ask how a friend should receive advice? Everyone's saying they want to do it one-on-one, but you don't want to do it one-on-one? Like, that makes no sense. Like, see, she's only about herself because she only gives a fuck about herself. Then the limo arrives to take the ladies to the Love Machine. The Love Machine is a club owned by Janet's first ex-husband, and it's run by her son. So she has the connections to get a nice section. On Sunday nights, they have drag queen nights. So they're there with all the drag queens having fun. And then you see Ben, like, in their section dance. I'm like, when did he get there? And he's the reason for Andrea's issues with Gina. So after that, we see Andrea meet with an author friend because now she wants to write a book about her being a working mom and how it's made her successful, right? With all her checklists for her nannies. She meets with her author friend and he has put together, I would say, a focus group of sorts of other working moms to shop around her idea of the book to see how it will be received with other moms, obviously. Some of the moms question her checklist as to why the nanny has to do so much of like the cleaning and the cooking.
Toddlers to the kids now. And this is why I have such efficient nannies.
In the event that you're not home.
Sometimes I'm home. Often I'm home.
So the nanny might just do till here, and then when you get home you take over.
No, nanny does everything there.
Still does everything.
Yeah, and so a lot of women look at nannies as just to care for their children, whereas I make my nanny stay an extra hour every day to clean the kitchen.
Actually, most of these things are.
I feel like a nanny is for the care of the kids, and then to clean up and do all that would be a housekeeper, right? Hope she pays them handsomely, because if you're making me do two jobs in one, I better be getting paid. You could tell, I guess, the idea of the book isn't really meshing well with who her audience would be. So hopefully she goes back and like rework some things. So the next scene is Janet taking Gina out for dinner to debrief her birthday dinner. Besides having a good time at the club with the drag queens, they discuss how judgy Andrea was being about Gina's behavior. Every time she brought up like, "Oh, you acted inappropriately," like as if, "Are you my mom? Is it school? Like, are you reprimanding me because I'm not acting right the way you want me to act right?" Like, then Gina mentions there was a mysterious email that was sent out that Andrea was CC'd in, just so she is aware of the contents of the email. I hope that email comes back up, because that was very, like, what email? I want to know what this email is. And they also both discuss how the ladies with the thread bow have changed how they feel about Gina now that they got closer to Jackie. But ever since Threadbow, it feels like what's the reason of them going this hard? Janet shares she is not fond of Lydia and calls her brainless, which is hilarious. After that scene, we see Jackie going over to Andrea's place for a chat and some cheese. She lets us know that Janet ends up telling Andrea what Gina says in the bathroom, even though, again, because she feels like, again, it's about her, but it wasn't about her. She was bitching about Lydia. So the information that Andrea was given, she overheard someone talking about a book, right? So I guess whatever Janet told her, all she heard was someone is talking about somebody's book, and she immediately thinks that it's about her. He calls Gina up to confront her, basically like, "Hey, I heard you were talking shit about my book." And then Gina's like, "Well, I wasn't talking about your book. I was actually talking about Lydia's book." So apparently Lydia is writing a book about cooking and family lifestyle. And for some reason, Andrea's like, "Well, I don't buy it because Lydia wasn't there. So why would you be talking about Lydia? You were obviously talking about me." No, it's not all about you, bitch. I don't know why you're inserting yourself in this drama. She's obviously talking about Lydia because Lydia is the start of this whole. Yes, Gina opened her mouth, and yes, Gina owned up to what she said, even though she was like, the reasoning isn't what you think it is. She still owned up to saying what she said. She feels that Lydia isn't taking part in owning up to starting all of this mess. Andrea trying to tell Gina about her behavior at the housewarming party is her trying to be like, "I was trying to give you advice about how you should be acting," which, who are you to tell me about how I should act, right? You're just, again, making it about yourself. She wants to do an outing with all the girls, invite everyone to her summer home in the peninsula for a day of tennis. So she wants to, I guess, put out an olive branch to Gina mostly, because that's the only person she has a problem with. Put out an olive branch to Gina and be like, "Hey, come to my house to have a nice day in the sun with some tennis." So now the issue is, what did Gina say in the bathroom about whose book, right? We get a quick scene of Lydia going to an art gallery to look at some more pieces for her home in Threadbow. After being invited to Andrea's Peninsula home, Gina goes shopping for the tennis day and tries to pick out some cute pieces. She says that she actually only owns one pair of sneakers and she doesn't really own many flats. So I guess almost all her shoes are heels, which must be hard. Like, are you wearing heels at home? Like, heels are not fun to wear. They're definitely cute for a moment or even just to work, but they're not like an everyday shoe. Like, your feet must be killing you. We see Janet at a charity event for the Royal Children's Hospital. I think it's like a ladies' luncheon. She invites Jackie to become more familiar with the social scene in Melbourne. Janet and Jackie step aside and they basically talk about the new issues now in the group. Jackie asks like, "Oh, well, what was said in the bathroom?" So Janet tells her and was like, "Well, Gina was talking about Lydia's book." Janet asked Lydia, "What's Lydia?" Wow, Janet asked Lydia. She wasn't even there. Janet asked Gina, "What's Lydia's book about?" And Gina responded, I'm hoping jokingly, that is about Lydia's vagina, because Lydia is the promiscuous one of the group and is always joking about sex and everyone's sex life and even her own. Clearly, in the of what we were shown from what she said in the bathroom, she was talking about Lydia and venting about how she felt about Lydia, and I don't think Andrea was ever brought up at all. If from what we seen with the editing of the show, what we seen, but so far what we know is she didn't say jack shit about Andrea, but Andrea's just adding in her 2 cents because it's got to be all about Andrea. So we move on to episode 6, and we see Lydia go to one of her classes for her interior design program.
No, I did that. But no one's probably given you a model with a bit of quirkiness on the outside.
And then she made a couple of friends in class too, which is interesting to see, you know, the age difference. Because when you go to college, like anybody can go to college at any age. So like you can see somebody grandma in your communications class. And then the next scene, we move on, we see Janet meeting with her interior designer for renovations in her second home in Red Hill. Her original budget was $125,000, but now she done went all way over budget. I think in 1 point something million, over some 18th century Spanish tiles. After that, we see Andrea on a construction site for her new location for Liberty Bell. I don't know if she said it was a second location or if they're just moving to a new location, but due to her bumbling idiot of an architect, it seems like she has some issues. And now she's like, a week out from her grand opening and nothing is going to be done in time. So then it's time for a tennis day at the beach at Andrea's house. So Lydia goes to pick up Jackie and they carpool together. Andrea and Chica ride together. I think from the looks of it, I don't know which side of the road Australia's on, but the way that they were in the car looked like Chica was driving because Andrea like had a cup in her hand. But while they're in the car, Andrea gives some details about the contents of the email that Gina apparently CC'd her in. And apparently it was from Gina's ex threatening to sue the Housewives, I guess, based on Jackie's reading, which is interesting. I don't know why she wanted to CC Andrea in that, but it seems like she CC'd Andrea and Lydia. So I'm assuming since it was Andrea's house, they left early. And so Andrea and Chica are the first arrived to the house. She gives a little quick tour of the property and everything.
Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, what's she got?
Poppy! Oh my God!
No, it's a dead Rosella.
It's a dead bird.
We saw it on the weekend.
Poppy! Oh my God! Poppy!
It was funny because Poppy is such a perfect dog and doesn't do anything wrong. And suddenly she's got this new toy that she's playing with.
Poppy, you vicious dog!
Janet arrives at the house, looking cute in her pink outfit. No, it wasn't a pink outfit. It was a pink cardigan, but it made it look cute. After Janet, next to arrive to the house is Lydia and Jackie. And Lydia brings her dog. As everyone settles in, then Janet questions how much longer they have to wait for Gina to arrive. I guess she's running late. But I don't know what time Andrea wanted everyone at her house, but she's obviously the last to arrive, and it's starting to annoy the ladies a little bit. This annoys Janet specifically because according to her, Gina typically runs late for a lot of their activities as a group. So I guess she's a little bit more annoyed than everyone. Being black, I know CPT. I was gonna say CPT time, but no, it's CPT. And knowing if you invite in black people to, if you want them at a certain time, make it earlier because they always they always wait for a 2-hour buffer for people setting up, people just starting grilling, and people just starting to arrive like 2 hours later because that's when the party starts. We need to get it together. So I guess while they're waiting for Gina to arrive, Andrea is showing the rest of her house to all the ladies that just arrived. Then Gina arrives, and then since she arrived, it's like, oh, okay, finally for the activity, for what we're here for, right? It's tennis day at the beach. So some of the ladies, they have to change. So those ladies went to go change, while some of the ladies who already came in their outfits are like already on the tennis court, kind of like playing around with the rackets and the balls and stuff. And then we see that Andrea planned a tennis coach to give them some of the lessons on the game since she, I guess, used to be a coach. So she brought in one of her coach friends to help them out. As the coach comes in, the ladies are still questioning what's taking Gina so long to get ready. Why is she taking forever? When Gina arrived, she did say she had to drop off some paperwork in the courts. So Since she had to go drop off those documents, she was one of the ladies that had to get changed. So they're still waiting on Gina to get ready, and the ladies become more annoyed because like they keep asking, "Where's Gina? Where's Gina? Where's Gina?" Like, why am I in your mouth so much? God damn. I know she got all these issues brewing for whatever reason, I don't know, but I feel like they be ganging up on her for no reason. But then we see a little match between Andrea and the coach, and she kicks the coach's ass. She goes to check in on Gina because she's like, I'm so worried about her. What's taking her so long? And then when she went to go check in on her, Gina came out ready in heels, in stilettos.
Hey, Gina, I'm scared of making you run.
Go, Gina!
That's it, go again.
I decided to wear high heels because I don't really wear flat shoes. And I thought it would be a bit of comedy, a bit of Kath and Kim. Really, at the end of the day, who wants to watch 5 bloated women running around a tennis court? I don't.
But Janet did not find that funny at all. She was like, I'm irritated that you're wearing heels. So it seems like you don't want to participate, because why are we making you wait this long if you're not going to participate? But she does end up hitting a few balls in the heels. Andrea has set up a little small lunch for the ladies. So they go to the table. And apparently Gina wanted to step away again. And then for some reason, this ticks the ladies off even more because they felt like Gina already spent so much time away from the ladies that she keeps doing this constantly, and that she's running late to everything. And it's become such an issue with the ladies for some reason, mostly Janet for some reason. So then Gina ends up coming back, and then Lydia asks Gina if she is cranky, as a kind of like a slick way of bringing up the conflict between her and Andrea from the night that she missed at Janet's birthday party. Since she wasn't there, she was in Threadboat. So she's trying to get the 411 on what happened that night. And basically they're rehashing everything again. So to break the tension, Jackie starts randomly salsa dancing because apparently her and Ben went to a salsa dancing class, and decides to invite the ladies to bring their partners if they wanted to a salsa dancing class that she's holding, her and Ben. And then they all start to collect their things and then go home. As they all leave, Andrea checks on her home and notices that Gina left a lot of either bronzer or just a lot of dark makeup residue everywhere in her bathroom, and is upset because apparently she doesn't have cleaners come to her beach house. So she's like, who's going to clean this up? Which is crazy because you can just send them to your beach house, or you can just clean it up yourself. Like, what's the problem with cleaning up? So as an attempt to do a redo for, I guess, their coffee date previously, Gina invites Jackie for a coffee. She wanted to apologize on her part of the issue that they have, I guess. Especially, I think, since Janet had that moment of like telling her like it could have hurt her livelihood. So it's nice that she at least owned up to it and apologized for it. So I get that. The ladies were able to come to an understanding and leave the conversation in a good place. So that's nice to see that there's some resolution to that conflict, even though there's another one brewing because someone else inserted herself in that conflict. So we do check in on Chica and her home, and she's cooking up some pasta for her sons and their friends after practice of a sport. They didn't say what sport, but it looks like after practice. So you could kind of see, Chica taking some time out of her schedule to cook for her children and spend some family time, which is important to her. And then the next scene, we get Jackie and Ben in their home. It's salsa dancing night, and they're getting ready. She's picking out different dresses or what she wants to wear, but she ends up picking a jumpsuit, or like Ben ends up telling her to pick a jumpsuit, which I would think you'd want a dress with some flair if you want to be spinning, doing salsa or whatever, but jumpsuit is nice. So after they get ready, they head over to what looks like a club, which I thought if they were salsa dancing, they'd be at a studio. But nonetheless, they go to a club for this salsa dancing. Each of the ladies arrive. Janet comes by herself. Chica and Gina come together, which seems like Chica might be Gina's only ally. And finally, Lydia and Andrea arrive. Janet says in her confessional that she's trying to be polite with Gina, but is still annoyed with her after the day of tennis. After everyone arrived, they begin the lessons, and Janet gets to, what is it? It seemed at first that like the instructor was like dancing with them one by one, because like Jackie dances with the instructor, then Janet dances with the instructor. But then at some point, they start to pair up. So like, I guess whoever they came with paired up with each other. And then at some moment, they're all dancing, having a good time. And then the instructor's like, oh, let's switch partners. So they switch partners. And then Jackie gets Janet. Jackie's like checking in on her since they had that moment like 101. And then Janet responds with, she's trying to stay away from you know who, Gina. But then we see Gina and Ben in the corner. They're paired up. Very awkward, but hilarious. Then apparently the instructor decided to bring some men in the mix since the ladies didn't decide to bring their partners, even though Jackie invited their partners. The instructor brought some random dudes, I guess, from the club to salsa dance with them.
Kind boy who volunteered to instruct for me. He was much shorter than I was.
God, if I fall over, I'm going to hurt this boy.
From here.
Bambi meets Godzilla. Hang on.
So then the lessons end. Everyone cheers to a great night. Kisses, hugs, goodbye. Everyone's having a good time. They left on a nice note. No drama. It was a good time. Everyone had fun. Lydia, Janet, Jackie, they decided to have a drink to debrief on their night. And then Janet shares her issues with Gina from her tennis day at the beach, and even brings up her leaving a mess in Andrea's bathroom. So now she feels like her time keeps getting wasted because Gina's always late, and now she has this random ass issue from Andrea's bathroom that she's tacking on to her issues with Gina. So it feels like something's brewing and she's about to spill all of her tea. The episode ends with Janet saying she doesn't care what Gina's problem is and she no longer wants her to be her friend. We know Gina likes to gab, right? Knowing from the hot mic that she likes to really gab with Janet because she feels like that's a safe space. What else is she telling Janet that's not on camera that Janet is about to not like, what is it, D-Day? And just tell everyone all the shit that Gina's been talking about them? I think in the preview, the next episode is their cash trip. So this will be interesting. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I have to do my Muay Thai, so it'll be a minute before you see my face. And I will be continuing Melbourne because I cannot wait for the reunion. First of all, I can't wait for the cash trip and then the reunion. But next time you'll probably see me, I'll definitely be talking about one of my favorite books currently that I'm reading. I don't know if you can see it. Carl Weber's The Family Business. I'm currently on chapter 35, so I'll be doing all of my opinions up until that chapter. And I heard that there's a show, and I want to review the show, so I might do that. But until then, like, share, subscribe, leave your opinions in the comments, and I'll see you next time.